Beneath this sand lies a glass thread thinner than a human hair. Cut it, and $10 trillion of daily trade vanishes in a single second. We obsess over borders, but the world is ruled by the veins, not the skin. There are 7 physical networks that hold the modern world together. Number 1. The nervous system. Submarine cables carry 99% of all international data. Satellites are a myth. The internet is physical, and it is terrifyingly fragile. A single ship dropping an anchor in the wrong place can blind an entire continent, or a specialized submarine designed to sever the connection on purpose. Number 2. The bloodstream. Pipelines do not just transport energy, they transport leverage. Whoever controls the valve controls the temperature of homes 1,000 miles away. We saw this in 2022. Physics ignores politics. You cannot heat a factory with promises. To escape the pipe, nations turn to the sea. But that only leads to the third structure. Number 3. The deep water port. 90% of everything you own touched a ship, and almost all of them must pass through a lane of water, only 1.7 miles wide. This is a choke point. Close it, and the global economy doesn't just slow down, it stops. Efficiency is the enemy of resilience. We built a system optimized for speed, not war. Number 4. The brain. The most expensive factories in human history, building the smallest objects on Earth. Modern semiconductors are printed at the scale of DNA strands. Only 3 companies can do this. 60% of the world's chips come from one island, an island under constant threat of invasion. If these factories go offline, no new phones, no new cars, no new missiles. For anyone. Number 5. The eyes. Low Earth orbit is no longer a scientific frontier. It is real estate. In modern war, if you cannot see the battlefield from space, you have already lost. But this infrastructure isn't owned by nations anymore. It is owned by billionaires. We built systems to connect the world, but connection is a double-edged sword. Number 6. The ledger. The financial plumbing that allows money to move across borders. We call it the weaponized dollar. With a keystroke, a nation can be deleted from the global economy. It is a bloodless siege. No soldiers, no bombs, just code that starves a country of cash. Number 7. The bones. Rare earth minerals. The raw ingredients for everything else we've seen. Lithium, cobalt, neodymium. You cannot build a green future without digging a very dirty hole. And refining these rocks produces toxic waste that most democracies refuse to deal with. One nation accepted the pollution in exchange for the power. Now, they hold the keys to the electric age. These 7 systems are not separate. They are a single, fused machine. We have never been more efficient, and we have never been more vulnerable to a single point of failure. Politicians sign treaties, but the people who dig the mines and lay the cables draw the map. The next World War will not start with a gunshot. It will start when one of these lines goes dead. To understand how the lights go out, look at the darker corners of the North Sea. These are not fishing boats. They are mapping the Achilles heel of the Western Alliance. In 2022, the cables connecting the world's northernmost satellite station were mysteriously cut. We think the cloud is in the sky. It is actually in a basement in Frankfurt. When the Nord Stream pipelines were blown, the illusion of safety evaporated with the gas. That explosion cost Europe €1 trillion. Infrastructure is no longer just concrete. It is inflation. To survive, Europe built a floating pipeline. a fleet of ships that now holds the continent hostage. Dependency didn't disappear. It just moved from Russia to the Middle East. We trade one vulnerability for another, and the most dangerous trade is happening in the South China Sea. If China invades Taiwan, they aren't just taking land, they are taking the Silicon Shield. This is the most complex machine ever built. It uses lasers to vaporize metal into plasma. No single country can build this. It is a technological chain that deliberately excludes China. So a shadow war has begun. Spies, smugglers, and shell companies hunting for prohibited tech. But chips need power, and power needs batteries. This brings us back to the dirt. China spent 20 years building railways in Africa, not for passengers, for ore. They own the ground, they own the mine, and they own the port that ships it out. The West is finally waking up. But you cannot rebuild 30 years of industrial neglect in a day. The final domain is the most fragile. A war in space doesn't just break satellites. It creates a cage of debris that could trap humanity on Earth for a century. Kill the satellites, and you don't just lose Google Maps. You lose the timing signal for the banking system. We built these systems to make life easier. We never asked what would happen if they turned against us. There is one final infrastructure. The cables don't just carry data, they carry narratives. An enemy no longer needs to bomb a power plant. They can just convince you to turn it off yourself. Every day, thousands of invisible missiles hit our grid. The war has already started. The digital world is not virtual. It is steel, glass, and copper, and it can be broken. The map on the wall is a lie. The real borders are the ones we just traced. 7 systems, 7 choke points. One fragile world. Who controls the pipes, controls the peace. Who controls the cables, controls the future. But nations do not accept vulnerability forever. The race to escape these choke points has already begun. To bypass the Malacca Strait, Russia and China are carving a new road through the melting north. The Polar Silk Road. It is faster, it is lawless, and it is completely outside Western control. But this is not free trade. It is a toll road guarded by the largest fleet of icebreakers on Earth. While the East looks north, the West looks inward, trying to bring the factories home. It is called reshoring. But physics and economics are fighting back. Independence is expensive. You can build the walls in 2 years, but it takes 10 years to train the mines to run them. The war for oil is over. The war for the periodic table has just begun. Western nations are frantically drawing new lines on the map, bypassing China to go straight to the source. They are even trying to ship sunlight, laying cables to move electricity from the Sahara to London. If you cannot trust the gas pipe from Russia, you must build a wire to the sun. Every new connection solves one problem and creates a dozen new enemies. The most dangerous decoupling isn't physical, it is financial. The revolt against the dollar. Nations are buying gold at the fastest rate in 50 years. They are building a fortress to survive sanctions. China has built its own plumbing. CIPS. Or, way to move money without asking America for permission. We are heading toward the splinter net, 2 separate digital worlds that no longer speak the same language. It is not just about blocking Facebook. It is about creating a sovereign reality where outside ideas cannot enter. In space, the race is even faster. Hunter-killer satellites are already being tested in the dark. The treaties that kept space peaceful are dissolving. The high ground is being weaponized. And deep underwater, Autonomous drones are now patrolling the cables, waiting for the order to cut. 2 GPS systems, 2 internets, 2 trade routes, 2 financial systems. The rest of the world is forced to choose. Which plug fits into your wall? Which satellite guides your car? This is the real map of the Cold War. Not ideology, but compatibility. We have built a world of miracles. But miracles are fragile things. Complexity is not strength. Complexity is risk. And we have never been more complex. It will not take a nuclear bomb to end the modern world. It just takes 3 well-placed cuts. 1 in the ocean, 1 in the ground, 1 in space. The only thing holding it together is the trust that no one is crazy enough to pull the plug. But trust is a non-renewable resource, and we are running on empty. The map on the wall shows nations. The map of reality shows flows. Cable, pipe, ship, chip, satellite, ledger, earth. These are the 7 keys to the kingdom. Watch who holds them, because without them, we are just 8 billion people alone in the dark. But the map we just drew is already dying. The next century belongs to something else. Steel and concrete are the infrastructure of the past. The future is wet. We are moving from silicon chips to synthetic biology, storing the internet in strands of DNA. All the data in the world today could fit in a single teaspoon of DNA. And the hands on the switch will not be human. Artificial intelligence will inherit the grid. We are building systems so complex that we no longer understand how they work. The final cable will not go under the ocean. It will go into your skull. When 8 billion minds are connected directly, the concept of a nation dissolves completely. The ultimate infrastructure project is not on Earth. It is the escape route. We built the machine to save us. Now we must ask, does the machine still need us?